do that. If I'm here, you can't do that. This is not right. This is wrong. And then they say, come on, that guy is doing it. I say, yes, but have you told him to his face? They said, no. I said, it on or under the king for 30 days. I knew that the decree had been signed. But if another and the father and the husband has made a law, is the right person. Now, but I'd like to bring your attention to something. If you go to the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8, the Bible says the highest of testament is something that's wrong, that contradicts God's word or contradicts truth or contradicts the highest authority in the organization. I am supposed to speak evil of leadership in your presence. Somebody comes to your office, somebody comes to your house, somebody comes around you and begins to talk against the leader of your organization, or begins to talk against your pastor, or you will never understand loyalty on the husband and the wife are one. Yes, they are one in terms of sexual relationship and in the marriage situation, but when it comes to the hierarchy in the home, the husband is the head of the woman and the head of the family, but the wife is the administrator of their father. That's wrong. That's wrong. And then in the same way, you find out that the Bible says that if somebody is backbiting somebody else in your presence, you should give the person an angry countenance. That the Bible says that in the book of Proverbs chapter 25 verse 23, it says, then on an elder or somebody, the Bible says, don't receive an accusation against that elder. That is found in 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 19 to 20. Don't receive any accusation against a leader or an elder except in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Hey, stop. Let's get more people to hear this and to confirm what you're saying. Do you have enough people confirming it? He said yes. Could you say it in the presence of the person? He said yes. Then that's the time you can hear it. But many times they don't want to involve any person because they are backbiting. And then the Bible says in Exodus 23 verse 3, it says, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. What is evil? The Bible says, entitled evil of any man. And he was always traveling with stories about other pastors negatively about the people of God to my son. I have never done it. And because I've never done it, I have also trained my son to believe the best about believers, to believe the best about church people, to believe the best about pastors and ministers of God. You know, and now you are educating my son with these stories. You are bad-mouthing church members, you're bad-mouthing God's servants, and my son is going to grow up with a bad imprint. I mean, he had to put his voice there, no, and the hypocrites or that people can sin. They had better have good ideas about God's people. We don't want them having bad ideas. Now, so you find out that one primary reason why many churches don't grow is that some members of the church are going up and down telling bad stories about people. And that is not right. That is not right. I remember another testimony that Brother Hagin shared, and I'm going to repeat it now because it's important to repeat it. He said when he was a pastor, you know, there was this lady, I think she was one of the spiritual members of the church. You know, during the weekly prayer meeting, she would always say, hey, I have a prayer request. And Brother Hagin would say, what is the prayer request? He said, well, pray for my husband. My husband is not saved, and he doesn't live here. He normally comes in sometimes once a week or once in 2 weeks to stay with the family and go back to his place of work. But it's not born again. You know, so every week they will remember brother so-and-so who was not, Mr. so-and-so who is not born again. They will pray for his salvation and pray that God, and eventually they had to spend a few days with his family. All the problems of the church, the man knew every one of them. And so he waited, you know, and he didn't say anything. You know, Brother Hagin can be very quiet. So he didn't say anything. So the following week at the weekly prayer meeting, when it was time for prayer request, the woman raised her hand again. Hey, I have a prayer request. And then, you know, he said, what does he say? Well, pray for my husband. He is not saved. And then, you know, I'm just praying that. Pray for your husband today. The woman was sure your husband is not saved. The woman said, how come? He said, you go back to your husband and tell your husband everything about every church member. How brother so-and-so is greedy church to your husband. And we've told them bad things about them. You know, I want this man to be saved. Have you observed? I don't know whether you have, but have you observed that many times church members are not able to convince their neighbors to come to church. They are not able to convince the people that live in the same yard or the same. Anybody who is doing that, I'm trusting the Lord that you're going to get something out of this. Now look at this. The Bible says, thou shalt not go up and down. Notice that people. Now, so when you are a talebearer, when people are offended or they are just idle and they are repeating stories, you go to your hey, look at what that man even already created a bad image of the church to their friends. They can't market the church to the same people that they have been gossiping to. This is the reason. And that's why loyalty is so important. And that is what happens to some of us housewives. You go out and tell your friends, that is not going to save him or help him. About your husband or about anybody, and behaviors magnify all those in leadership highly of him. And chapter 3, that we should, he said, and we beseech you, brethren, and be at peace. Anybody above me, very high. Verse 21 is a quality of faith. As I am also of Christ, sin of the upright, the city is exalted. Bless what your leadership is doing. Learn to come into agreement with those God. Look at the things, look at the example. A successful follower in countries, there's a lot of shame. When we were under the colonial masters, many of our leaders did not really follow because it is on our own. So if you want for leaders, but don't just follow, learn what your leader is doing and try to do as well as your leader. There is wisdom in loyalty. Let me end by saying this. Loyalty releases the platform on which there can be transference of spirit, transference of grace. If you are a member, be loyal to your church. And if you're working for any organization in the world, be loyal to your organization, be loyal to your leader. As you're suffering, you will have the